YouTube, are you ready for some char-grilled vampires, or Kentucky fried vampire, if you will? That's right, I've got some Dawi versus vampire action, and yes, as you can see, there will be Iron Drakes, so sit back, relax, get ready for a battle where you get to enjoy some Kentucky fried vampire, but will it be enough? Will the Iron Drakes pull the Dawi through their fight against the disgusting undead hordes? Alright, welcome to the battlefield where we're going to be joining Ungrim Iron Fist. Wait, that's not Ungrim. Yeah, I know. No, the submitter was Ungrim Iron Fist, and he's actually playing with a Rune Lord and a Rune Smith. You can see his Rune Smith over there. Here's his Rune Lord. Let's take a look at his army. On this side of the battlefield, we've got his Mighty Dawi. They've got a Grudge Thrower, a couple of Slayers, one of which is the Dragonback Slayers, the other is a Giant Slayer. And then in terms of infantry, we've got 4 Longbeards. He's obviously hoping for something that's not going to rout in the face of terror. Up front, we have 3 Miners with blasting charges, one of which is the Ekron Miners. We do have 2 Iron Drakes, as I alluded to in the intro, and then a couple of Quarrelers as well. Now let's go check out the Vampire setup. Out here on the Vampire right flank, we've got a unit of Vargeist and Fell Bats. Then we've got the Feasters in the Dusk, which is a regiment of renowned Crypt Ghoul. And then there are 4 units of Black Knights with Lances and Barding, and man, these guys look cool. That aura about them as they run forward is very awesome indeed. In fact, let's jump in with these guys and go for a ride real quick. So yeah, this is Varric's Reavers, and then there's a couple of other Black Knights with Lances and Barding. So let's actually follow in this unit over here. Let me get you the right. No. This unit. In. Yeah. Check it out. So the Black Knights came forward. Getting a little bit gutsy here, and I want to show you just how hot it gets when you charge into blasting charges and troll hammer torpedoes. So the Vampire player here, a little too gutsy for his own good, and his initial charge here with the Varric's Reavers is going to be punished pretty heavily. I think the right move here may have been to try and use the Vargeist and other units to tie down before doing a cavalry charge like this, which would have been very disruptive. But as you can see, the Vampire infantry was just too far away for this attack to really need to begin just yet. Look at the damage the Grudge Thrower can do to infantry. It's just tremendous damage. He's got a unit of Grave Guard basically already on its heels. Here, the Feasters in the Dusk is going to charge in to the oh crap, why can't I remember these guys' names? Dragonback Slayers, my bad. Yeah, so they're going to charge into the Dragonback Slayers. The Dragonback Slayers actually probably don't want to fight that. The Feasters in the Dusk will do way more damage to them than it's worth. They really ought to be seeking out the cavalry. Here you can see the Fell Bat's going to come in and do what I had suggested. They're going to come after the Quarrelers. I'm going to do some unit testing sometime too. A while ago, I had a replay with some Vargeist, and I said that they do a bunch of damage on the charge, and I had a comment like, their charge bonus is terrible. They don't do any damage on the charge. Charge bonus isn't everything, my friend. I'm going to do a video about it soon and try and demonstrate why Vargeist do indeed do pretty tremendous damage on the charge if used against the proper units. And it has a lot to do with their weapon damage. Yep, there's more to charge than charge bonus. Charge bonus is important, but it's not the only thing. So now the Vampires are here, all their infantry's here, Strigoi Ghoul King is here. The 2 corpse carts are still making their way forward though, which is unfortunate for the Vampires because they do provide a healing aura, and these particular ones, I believe, are buffing melee, so yeah, regeneration. Actually, that one's just constant on self. I don't think this one, does this one heal the other units around? Can't ever remember. No, they're just getting Vigor Mortis. It's not actually healing the units. I think it has to be the corpse cart with the Unholy Lodestone, perhaps, to do that. I don't remember exactly. Look at these Vargeist over here. See? They're doing pretty good. In any case, yeah, the Dwarf player is just kind of trying to fend off. The Vampires throwing everything in. The Black Knights are doing lots of charges, but they're also having to watch out for Giant Slayers. And then over here, there's a bunch of Longbeards tangled up, and of course the Dragonback Slayers have taken a pretty good chunk out of Varric's Reavers here. The key with the Reavers may have been to charge the Slayers and then pull out and repeat the charge. You can actually damage Slayers pretty badly in such a way, though you'll take a little damage in return. The Bats did a great job grinding down the Quarrelers. I think at this point the Vargeist should be cycled. Just let the infantry do its thing on the ground. Cycle charge the Vargeist into targets of opportunity like here, or to get into these Iron Drakes. And the Iron Drakes are still firing away. They haven't gotten a ton of kills, but the thing you got to remember about these guys, they may not get a ton of kills, but look at the missile damage here. It does leadership damage. The vampires don't have a lot of leadership. And anything with regenerate is weak to flaming damage. So Iron Drakes actually think are a somewhat underrated unit. I don't know that they're great in every situation, but if you don't expect your opponent to have any long range, the Iron Drakes can actually be really handy because they do tremendous damage to just about anything. They don't do a lot of armor piercing damage, they just do so much damage that it'll add up regardless. So like in this battle, the Grave Guard with great weapons, they have pretty good armor, 90. But you'll see that the Iron Drakes, anytime they get a hold of them, they actually do some pretty solid damage. Now this is where Vargeists don't want to be, which is in a prolonged fight. They don't have a lot of armor, and they're not very survivable. You see the vampires fighting this one out. Strigoi is in here trying to take on the Rune Lord and the Rune Smith. He is a decently strong Lord, but it's not going to be a good place for him. I think taking on those two tanky dwarf hero units probably won't go great for the vampires. The Black Knights are still alive, and they are doing a pretty good number here on some of the dwarf skirmishers. But look at this, the Iron Drakes continue to get themselves free and have managed to continue to fire into the fights and cause damage. So the vampire player, despite repeated attempts, has not really taken the Iron Drakes off the field. And over here, although this one got caught by the Black Knights, here comes the Slayers. Now you're seeing Soul Blight from the vampires, which isn't necessarily a bad play because it can hurt armor and weapon damage. Look at this, see the Iron Drakes once again should be able to get away from their attackers. And as infantry kind of blobs up like this, you get your perfect opportunity for Iron Drakes. Look, here's a few out here that just survived yet another charge somehow. These units are now positioned to just really hit this vampire nice from the flanks. And again, armor or not, it's just a lot of missile damage. It's a lot. It says 173 missile or 63 missile damage. Now that's averaged out over time, obviously. But I mean, they do tremendous damage. Look, they've almost got a chevron, so don't let the kills be your distraction factor there. Strigoi putting up a good fight. The Rune Lord is in bad shape, and the Rune Smith is also in bad shape. But all of these Longbeards, they are not going to give way easily. They're not going to win the fight, but right now the vampire player has to get rid of these Iron Drakes. The Longbeards won't do great in the fight, but he has to get rid of the Iron Drakes and keep his Lord alive. If he could do that, the vampires might actually have a fighting chance, because Longbeards are pretty terrible in melee. You can see Strigoi running away from the flaming mess. He's crumbling, and his Grave Guards are getting burned. He finally gets these Black Knights in here to try and shut down the Iron Drakes, but not before it's too late for Strigoi, who's going to crumble out of the fight. The last bits of infantry are crumbling out of the fight, and where he thinks that his Varix Reavers may have finally silenced these Iron Drakes, the vampires are going to hit the leadership wall here, and as you can see out here, Strigoi is crumbling, and once he's out, that's going to be it for the vampires. So there he goes, and you can see that that's going to be it. The rest of the vampires crumble, and then the corpse cart isn't far behind. Look at that guy out there swinging his whip still. He's like, hey, I don't give up. Anyway, fun battle. Nice play by Ungram there, bringing some Iron Drakes. It's a fun unit. It can be useful. I can see why he brings it against the vampires. The vampires actually have units that are weak to fire damage. So stuff like Crypt Horrors can take tremendous damage from Iron Drakes. Also, again, infantry and blobs, where the Iron Drakes just don't miss, or even just coming headlong into him. The Iron Drakes cause a lot of damage, like I said, armor or not. Hey, let's jump into one last thing real quick. I am just going to go ahead and show you a Vargeist unit test just to try and prove a point. Alright, so for the person who commented saying that Vargeist don't do any damage on the charge because their charge bonus is only 24, yes. Let's do a little bit of testing here. So a couple of points I want to make about Vargeist. First, even if you don't have a unit engaged, you can still sometimes do damage, and it's because an enemy infantry unit cannot countercharge a Vargeist, and to be quite honest, they can't even really position themselves properly to stop a charge. because they can't counter it because the Vargeist are in the air. So remember, I was told that Vargeist don't do much damage on the charge. Let's just see what happens to these Bleak Swords on the charge. What do y'all think? Does that constitute not much damage? I think that was like a quarter of their health right off the bat. So let's do some more testing. And again, that wasn't even like a good charge where they got up to full speed. That was just dropping out of the air. Let's look at this Bleak Sword that's engaged in combat here. Now, Vargeist are kind of squishy. Do be aware. Let's see, the ones engaged on the sternman here. Let's give them time to pick up speed and give a proper charge here. So, let's see. Their hit points, roughly the 4,500 level. Let's see if Vargeist don't do much damage on the charge. So they went from 4,500 straight way down to about 25. Now, granted, they were fixed on an infantry unit, but again, people saying Vargeist don't do much damage on the charge. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Vargeist, again, do tremendous damage on the charge. It depends on the situation. You can't just charge them in and expect to see a unit disappear. But if you use them right, again, that rear charge, look what the rear charge did here. Did a lot of damage. Took about almost a quarter of a unit off right there just from a charge. I lost some hit points in the process too because Vargeist are squishy. That much is true. But again, this is really where I think they shine the most, is fixed infantry. So let's take a look here. There's 2 units of infantry fixed, one of which has heavy armor. Let's just see what kind of damage output the Vargeist can summon up here. Big blob of infantry. Bleak Sword's going to be around 4,000 hit points, and the Hargoneth around 5,000. See what the results of the charge are here. Remember, the claim is that Vargeist don't do much damage on the charge. The Bleak Swords, yeah, don't do much damage, right? And it looks like you lost about 800, almost 900 hit points on the Executioners in that process. See there, that's what Vargeist are used for. They're like a cavalry unit that can bypass the ground because they can attack from the air. So that's how they're used. A little shock and awe. It's their 107 weapon strength that does the trick here. I don't know what their mass is, and honestly, their speed's not even that fast. But 92, they can get moving. So again, that was one charge into the Executioners. Let's do a second charge. You can see the Executioners obviously not struggling against my Graveguard. But do they take a lot of damage from a rear attack in the Vargeist? Yes, they do. Can you stay in this kind of combat for an extended period of time with the Vargeist? I wouldn't recommend it. It's not what the Vargeist are for. You charge in, you do your damage, and move out. So the heavily armored infantry, yep, it's going to take Vargeist a little more work to do. But I think you all can see that the purpose of the Vargeist here is they'll be very good against lower tier infantry on these kind of charges, but more importantly, they're going to do tremendous damage to squishy missile units and routing units, and then as you get them into the late game where units are already torn up a little bit, they'll do even better damage because some of the health of the units will already be chipped away and unit entities will start dying from the charges, whereas that may not happen just right away. So look, here comes the Vargeist in for a last charge in the Executioners. So that's what you use the Vargeist for. Look, 77 kills, 49 kills. Era, you had these guys way outmatched. I know that wasn't the purpose of it. The purpose of it is just to show you, yes, Vargeist can do a lot of damage on the charge. They're flying cavalry, folks. It says flying monstrous infantry, I guess technically, but they act a lot like flying cavalry. It's this huge weapon strength. Their charge bonus isn't that bad. I mean, unless something's debuffing it. Their real drawback is the armor. That's their real drawback here. Otherwise, they can be useful in those situations. So I would say you bring them if you expect your opponent to bring a lot of squishy type skirmishers or squishy infantry. Like, so if you expected a bunch of state troops, Vargeist are a solid pick. You can send in skeleton warriors to hold the line, and then you just start smashing the back of the lines with Vargeist. And you have to have a way to keep the enemy cavalry busy, because that's going to be the big weakness for Vargeist, is large units. Anything with a little bit of armor or anti-large, these guys will start to melt pretty fast. But again, squishy units, even like a caster lord, for instance, that doesn't have much armor, they would be extremely vulnerable to Vargeist, because the Vargeist, again, do tremendous damage against unarmored units. So if you were to get in here and this were a caster lord, and even just look here against the dread lord, they do a lot of damage. That's a lot of unit entities hitting with 100 weapon damage. It hurts. It hurts bad. So again, I wouldn't underestimate these units. Anyway, hope that was useful. Hope you all enjoyed this. If you did enjoy the video, please go up there and leave a like. It helps me out a lot. It helps people find the videos, and helps more people be able to join the community. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, click that stupid YouTube bell so that you get notified whenever there's a new video. And guess what, folks? I say it all the time, but yes, there will be more videos. Come back and join me next time. What else do you want to see in Total War Warhammer 2? HeirofCarthage, signing out.